So I was back in Ireland for a few weeks, and around that time I decided to head to Dublin for the Rally for Life, the pro-life march that was organised on the 4th of July. I brought my shitty camera and Tascam and took a few photos and videos of the day. I got talking to a good few people from all walks of life, and some of them are in this video. Before I hit play, just a few comments on the event. I enjoyed the day out in Dublin, and it was good to show the authorities that there is still a big appetite for pro-life views out there, and that we, the undesirables, haven't gone away, you know. The audience was roughly around 15,000, which for a summer's day, with a lot on that weekend, wasn't too bad at all. It was well organised, a great amount of striking banners and placards on show, there were some very good speakers invited, and the music provided the right note. Now, some people mentioned that there was too much red in terms of the flags and placards. Now, I have to be honest, I did notice this too at the time, and I agree it might be a psychological play on the mind. I'm thinking Zelensky's rules of engagement here, red being the colour of communism, of course. I also mentioned it at the time that we needed a lot more Irish flags on display than what was there, as if there's one thing that will stir an Irish person, it's the green, white and gold. But anyway, maybe I'm putting too much into that. Also, the music from the amps at the start, when people were just milling about before the rally began in earnest, was a bit overbearing and difficult for people to have conversations. I mean, I totally understand the mood they were trying to project, since the day that was in it there was the Longitude Festival and Westlife were in town too, so they wanted to project a cool vibe to proceedings. But there could have been the odd break here and there for us old fogies to get our heads together. Okay, well, what I did like was, I loved the fact that on the march there was a real mix in the crowd, from the old to the young, of all classes and races, all marching for the unborn. I guarantee that in the trans march, for example, in the morning, most of the crowd would be upper and middle class D4 heads, up their own arse, figuratively speaking, of course, maybe. 90% white and also very young, so in essence, little real diversity from the left wing spectrum. But that's a given these days. It's always the rich privileged telling us how we should live and think. In the pro-life rally there was real diversity, and I hope to give you a small sample of that in my video. Generally what you always find is that ordinary people are fair-minded and open, but we know that anyway. As for parties and political representation, I saw Renua and Intu were well represented, with banners and plenty of support, and Peadar Tabine was one of the main speakers at the event. Otherwise, the National Party had a good few young people handing out leaflets and chatting to people about the party and the state of the country. I met two of these young lads from Galway and Athlone and was well impressed with their demeanour and how articulate they were. I didn't get to do an interview with them, as the music from the stand was too loud, but it's good to know that there are young lads out there that generally give a fuck about the country, and more importantly are clued in with what's happening, what's really happening. They're kind of doing what Sinn Féin used to do years ago, leafletting and engaging people on the streets. I think the National Party are the ideal replacement party for the many disaffected Republicans and Nationalists out there who are leaving Sinn Féin in droves, so more power to them. Just to say that I appreciate the hard work the organisers of the rally did. I think it was Life Institute, I think, that organised it. They did a great job, and hopefully I can get to attend next year's events, both in Dublin and, if I can, up in Belfast, so well done to all involved. Okay, so first off I met Glenn from the Yellow Vest movement.
I've seen you were on the Yellow Vest thing.
That's right, yeah, I'm a member of the Yellow Vest movement, yeah.
And how's that going at the moment? Is it
brilliant? Yeah, absolutely. We're nearly 19,000 supporters on our main page, and there's about 70 other groups nationwide.
And do you still do weekly protests somewhere?
Yeah.
I mean, you were doing with Gemma Doherty, I think you were doing some things with Google.
We did a few things with Gemma, alright, yeah. We did freedom of speech, and we did the fake news and RTE.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it's great that you could bring a crowd out. Like, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
We work with everybody.
Yeah.
So we represent everybody. We don't just represent one group or one people. So it's about uniting as many people as possible.
And what about today's protest? Like, do you feel? How do you see the pro-life movement? I mean, what's it at the moment?
You have to look at it. There's tens of thousands of people here. Which is brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, brilliant.
But how can we turn that into? How can we turn that into repealing, or not repealing, but gaining back what we lost? Is there any?
Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to generate a new campaign where the vote is considered valuable. And the last election, 61% of Irish people didn't even bother to register to vote or come out to vote. So there's value in voting, even though people think that there isn't. You have to stop saying the old rhetoric that it's never going to change. Clearly, if you look around, you can see that it is changing.
I mean, the crowd's not bad. We were at the back, we didn't see it, but it's obviously bigger than we thought.
People are coming together, and that's what the whole idea of the Yellow Vest movement was originally about. It was about all of the various groups putting on the Yellow Vest, because we all agree with one thing, that the government is failing the people. We all agree that the policies that the government roll out don't represent the majority of the people. They may represent minorities, but they don't not the majority. So
why do you think abortion is such an important issue in all of this grand scheme of things?
In the grand scheme of things, 42 million children were murdered last year.
42 million? I didn't know that,
42 million.
But it's a fertility.
It's a moral issue just as much as it is anything else.
But it's like the population, the fertility of Ireland. It's going, it's going down all the time. And
there are alternative means that are alternative ways of, putting children into. To be honest with you, you'd be stuck for words. You don't know what to say because
you're perplexed.
You don't know what to say because you don't know whether what you're going to say is going to be used against you. You don't know whether you're going to say something that might offend somebody. It is a black and white issue because it's life over death.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of like celebrating the culture of death, because if now that's here, anything is on the table, really. Euthanasia.
Euthanasia is on the. We just saw a case over in Germany where a young girl suffering from depression ended her life. And that's going to be on the uptake.
Yeah, because when people think of euthanasia, they always think of the old people, the old fogies.
But it's just young people.
It's just anybody who's depressed.
We live in a society where suicide is epidemic nearly at this stage, and it's not being addressed. It's the elephant in the room. At the same time, you have to look at during the horrendous campaign during the referendum, you had for and against obliterating each other. They promised various things wouldn't happen, and now we see abortion clinics opening up next door to Tesco's. That's how they're trying to normalise it.
Keep it classy, guys.
And it's in disadvantaged areas as well.
So why did Simon Harris and Micheál Martin and all those, even Verdiker, they were in inverted commas pro-life. How did it turn? Is that just the nature of politics?
Well, that's the nature of politics, isn't it? It is the nature of politics. But it's clear that they can't stand by their own convictions. And if you can't stand by your own moral convictions, then you give up your right to be the moral leader of the nation.
I don't want to keep it too long. Thanks very much.
Okay,
is there anything with the Yellow Vest doing at the next few weeks, or anything we should look out for?
Well, I'd only suggest anybody who's interested.
You have a Facebook page, don't you?
Yeah, we have the
Is there fake ones? Is there on?
There's a couple of fake ones. There's fake ones of everything. But look, if anyone's interested, they can get on board. Just go down to the Yellow Vest page, like the page, and that's as simple as.
Okay.
And check out the event sections and come to the events whenever they're on, and feel free to start your own movement.
What's your first name? Glenn, thanks very much.
After that, I met Count, a big hitter on YouTube for some of us at least. I had to cut the interview short at the end as we were at the back of the rally and in danger of missing out on all the fun, but thanks to the Count for his time and insight.
How are we doing?
Here I'm with the amazing Count. Look at this, superstar.
I like to count.
Look at.
I thought your interview with Emmanuel was very good.
Thanks very much, Count. I appreciate that. Coming from you, it's good.
I know, he's a wonderful artist.
He's very good, isn't he?
Yeah, he has, I reckon, the second largest painting in Ireland. The largest being The Marriage of Eve and Strongbow in the National Gallery.
Supper,
and his is The Last Supper, and it's probably the second largest.
I think it is the second.
McAleese did that one.
So nationwide.
Nationwide will have a special on an Emmanuel, maybe.
Not only if he had Trump as Taoiseach, and Orban was tarnished it. Then
And that's Salvini.
Well, you're talking about RTU. Do you think they'll even cover the pro-life march today?
You mean FARTE, or should I say Radio Television Europe?
Yeah.
You know.
But there won't be any mention of this on RTE.
I wouldn't think so.
Absolutely not.
It doesn't suit the narrative.
But they did mention one of the things to do this weekend was hang out with the march that was 12 o'clock. What was that march? The trans march.
Yeah, I missed that one, by the way.
They said that RTE said that was something to do on the weekend.
Right. Something to avoid. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
So, what does like pro-life mean to you? I mean,
I suppose like when I was younger, I probably would have thought it was a good idea. But then, when going into research to do with the amount of people that how it has actually affected in the millions since abortion was actually legalised, and to me, it is a way that seemingly the government policy in this country seems to be abort, export, and import, instead of doing what other countries in Europe, like Hungary, is encouraging local populations to have more children and give tax breaks. Now, I know it's a very fine balance economically speaking, but these guys just seem to be, once the GDP is up, they don't care how much they have to borrow to prop it up, and someday the piper is going to come calling looking for his money.
Well, I think that ties it with the fertility rate at the moment. I think in Ireland is 1.8 or 1.6. I'm
Well,
not
for
sure.
a population to turn over, you need a minimum of 2.1 children per woman.
Okay.
And at the moment, as far as I know, it's about 1.6, 1.7.
Yeah, 1.6. Yeah.
You know, the problem is.
And you want to be bringing in abortion then, wouldn't you?
Yeah. The problem is that if you look, if I may use England as an example, because I'm not quite sure over here, but amongst for instance, the Bangladeshi community, it's 4 children per woman, and amongst the Pakistani, it's 4.7 children per woman.
Wow.
So you can see how that demographically is going to be a time bomb, especially if you factor in that since Ireland agreed to recognise divorces from outside the EU, does that not follow then that they're recognising marriages from outside the EU as well, which means then that they could potentially be recognising polygamy if it happens outside the EU? So how can you compete when the narrative is that you have a stacked deck against what I would see the citizens of this state? And one of the things that they never talk about, the birth rate, is those that are classed as the new Irish that get Irish citizenship. So there's a lot of things here, and I think this country, especially if you don't mind me bringing in the fact that the government plans to get rid of electric, diesel, and petrol cars by 2030, I think they run the risk of causing another bloody famine in this country.
Do you think it's planned or it's scattered? They haven't a clue what they're doing.
They haven't a clue what to do, and I think that they're just waiting to get their 4 years in, get their pension and get out. And
But behind them it's planned though.
Behind them, I think it was orchestrated probably through the likes of meetings like Bilderberg and Bohemian Grove, and the fact that Coveney was at the Bilderberg meeting in 2014 with Peter Sutherland, who was in charge of the European branch of Bilderberg from, I believe, 1989 onwards until his death.
And this year, Michael O'Leary, because they're opening up new routes from maybe Africa or Malta at least.
Well, it was interesting. I managed to get my way into the Davenport Hotel at the time that they did the MEP conference for those.
You spoke to Simon Coveney.
Well, no, that was in the Goat Grill when I asked about the Global Compact. This was prior to the last European elections. I managed to bluff my way into the Davenport Hotel with my partner, and of the candidates there was, I think, about 17 candidates showed up. But twice I heard Francis Fitzgerald mention something which I hadn't heard before, and that was the European-African Agreement.
Okay,
All right. Now, I have heard of the Barcelona Declaration, which dates back to 1996. I've also heard of the Marrakesh Political Declaration, which is a declaration between Europe and Africa, totaling 58 countries to do with the ease of movement of trade and people. And then, of course, on top of that, you have then the Global Compact, which was signed by Charlie Flanagan very quietly in Marrakesh there in December of last year, while everybody was looking at the 2-week climate change conference in Poland. You know, a little bit of sleight of hand there.
But anyway, I have because we're getting back. Thanks. We have to do a full interview someday.
Very nice you come over and say hello.
Good man. This is the count.
All right. See you, fellas. Talk to you later. Right.
After I caught up with the main body of the rally on their march to O'Connell Street, I met a nice couple from India who I noticed participating at the event. This is just a small example of all the different peoples attending the rally from all over the world. was a little hard to hear them over the bongo drums, so apologies for that.
Okay, just introduce yourself. What's your name?
My name is Abhi George. I'm from India. I live in Northern Ireland for last 1 year.
Okay.
This is my wife.
Myself, Fancy. I'm studying Alistar University for MBA.
Okay. And what are you guys doing down here in Dublin?
We just come to serve our Lord Jesus, and we want to praise our Lord Jesus
Okay.
to everyone. So that's why we are here now.
Okay. Pro-life views?
We never support that abortion. Abortion is a sin. It's a sin. Jesus never want to do that because life is given from the Jesus. So never do that. We are not stand for abortion anymore.
And you're from India, like?
Yes, we are from India.
There wouldn't be many Christians in India, would there?
India is like 25% Christians, and most of the people is Hindus.
Okay, so what's it like to live as a Christian in India then?
India, there are some part of the India like is not is difficult to preach and difficult to serve the Lord. But we are living in the southern part of India. There is no problem. We can pray. We are worship as like.
Okay. And what brought you to Ireland, Northern Ireland?
Pardon?
What made you come to Ireland?
We came for studies.
Studies.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are you studying? And if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, she's studying for MBA.
Oh, okay. All right.
Alistar University.
Okay. Okay. And you're just with her as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what do you think of all this? What do you think of all this craziness? Is it?
Yeah, it's amazing. So
Yeah.
we are seeing a lot of crowd here.
Yeah.
Because I think all the people's decision is correct. Their thinking is right.
Yeah.
Never.
You wouldn't have anything like this in India, no?
No. In India also it's illegal. So it's not. Never.
But what about abortion in India? Is it a big thing? Abortion is there many?
Yeah, it's a very big crime.
Okay, and like what's the statistics? Is it abortion statistics? Is it high or?
Now it's not supported to the government, so it's a rate.
Okay, these guys are from Saskatchewan. So. Anyway, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
At the main stage, I recorded Niamh Uí Bhriain of the Life Institute. Her speech, which I thought was excellent, was full of energy and was a rallying cry to all of us. And I also recorded a speech from Dr. Trevor, a consultant, a gynaecologist in St. Luke's Hospital in Kilkenny. His speech pulled no punches, was heavy hitting, and told us the reality of what abortion is all about. Another great speaker on a day full of good oration.
To be just one more lie. That's treble the number of abortions that were previously recorded in Irish women. And who in their right minds wants the number of abortion to treble? And now we know, in these terrible 6 months since Simon Harris pushed through his bill, that a 15-week-old preborn baby was aborted in the National Maternity Hospital on the advice of doctors who suspected what they described to those parents as a fatal abnormality. After the abortion, the test showed there was nothing wrong with the child. Nothing can bring that baby back to those devastated parents now, because abortion is irreversible. Abortion cannot be undone. And Simon Harris told voters that they had to repeal the 8th Amendment to keep women safe. Yet 2 women have died on his watch in our maternity hospitals since abortion was legalised. So many lies were told to repeal the 8th. And now, in this country of ours, which was pro-life for so long, we will have so much death. And Sean Connors was right. It was the most shameful day in Irish history. But I say this to you here today, it is not our shame, because our hands are clean. You did not vote for this, and you do not bear that shame. Instead, that shame should be felt by Simon Harris, by Leo Varadkar, by the Irish media who were the Yes campaign, and by those people who danced in conga lines in grotesque scenes at Dublin Castle, celebrating the fact that babies could be killed. And this cruel abortion regime is a stain on what was once a proud pro-life nation, but it is not a state of our making. It is not bare our mark, and for that we stand here today, pro-life and proud. So we know that 10,000 babies will die by abortion this year, but we did not vote for that, and we will work to change that. Babies with Down syndrome will be targeted as they are in every other country, but we did not vote for that, and we will work to change that. And women will suffer and be exploited by this abortion industry, but we did not vote for that, and we will work to change that. And we voted for life because it is only life that can endure, only life that gives hope, and only life that will make us a great pro-life nation once again. So your conscience is clear and your hands are clean. There is no blood on our hands, and we should remember that. Just as we remember it for the 723,000 of our fellow Irish men and women who would have no part in a regime, an abortion regime, that is losing favour in many other countries, where the reality of the harm that abortion causes can no longer be denied. So in the United States, in Poland, in Hungary, even in Britain, and in many other countries, the tide is starting to turn, and sometimes the tide is turning. And together, we, the pro-life people, shall be part of turning the tide in Ireland too. And I will say this as I look out and as I walk down O'Connell Street today, and all the young people and all the families and the amazing energy and spirit and joy you brought to the Rally for Life, that sometimes I think we live in very strange times where children are increasingly seen as disposable. But you see, that too has unforeseen consequences. Because at a time, in this country as everywhere else, while falling birth rates and unprecedented demographic change, the truth is the future belongs to us. It belongs to those of us who do not abort their children, but who welcome and cherish every single child. And that change that we're starting to build now may come sooner than we imagine, because it is only in life that there can be a future, only in life that we can rebuild, only in life that our children will inherit this land and make this a pro-life nation once again. And the 1916 leader, Tomás MacDonagh, said, even after the Rising, that we as a people refuse to yield even to defeat. And we refuse to yield even to defeat because the alternative is unthinkable. The alternative is to abandon our most helpless babies to a most cruel death, and that we will not do. So we refuse to yield, because every child alive and kicking in the womb is worth fighting for. We refuse to yield, because every woman frightened and alone is worth fighting for. And we refuse to yield, because a country that cherishes all of its children is worth fighting for. We refuse to yield, because we may have lost a battle, but our cause will never be defeated. As long as we stand for life and say that we will never accept abortion, not now, not ever, not in our country, and not in our name. Gurmila Magin. Woo! Ready for life!
I'm an advocate for the unborn, the purest of the pure, the most innocent. Last month we informed the GPs in the area and the HSE that we will be not performing abortions in St. Luke's Hospital. All four consultant obstetricians in the hospital decided unanimously that the hospital is not an appropriate location for medical or surgical terminations. A great many of my colleagues are unwilling to perform surgical abortions, and they will say they will not be forced to carry out this life-ending procedure. Would the politicians who so vehemently insist that we must perform abortions be willing to carry out one themselves? Would they avulse limb from limb and crush a baby's head and call it healthcare? Would they undertake the horrific task of ending the life of a living, growing human being? I suspect not. But they want us, and they want to force doctors like me to do so, and that's not going to happen. Would the GPs who are attacking pro-life obstetricians on Twitter perform a late-term surgical abortion? Again, I suspect most of them would not. So why are they trying to force other people to be involved in something so repugnant to those of us who adhere to the first principle of medicine, which is do no harm? Shame on them for failing to respect the conscientious rights of their colleagues in medicine, but we won't be bullied by them either. I got into medicine to help mothers and babies and to save lives. I will not be forced and bullied by politicians or by the media into performing or facilitating abortions. Every other day, I have the privilege to witness birth. I can see true love when a mother delivers her baby and her partner gaze into that child's eye. That is love and peace. The truth is the government has tried to trample on the rights of medical professionals who conscientiously object to taking part in abortions. This is a form of bullying that is absolutely unacceptable, because a person's conscience is not subject to majority rule. Let me be clear, I will not take a caress to a helpless child in the womb, and nobody can make me do so. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of doctors, nurses, midwives, pharmacists who feel the same. In fact, 85% of GPs do not believe that abortion should be part of general practice. And 80% of GPs say they will not participate in providing abortion as part of general practice. Abortion services were forced on GP services without consultation. But that's how Simon Harris operates, even as the health service falls deeper and deeper into crisis. No doctor has any objection to provide life-saving medical treatment to a pregnant woman, but abortion is not life-saving, it is life-ending. It is not healthcare, and no amount of spin can make it healthcare. When St. Luke's confirmed abortions would not be carried out in our hospital, abortion supporters were furious, and this prompted our health minister, Simon Harris, to enthusiastically tweet that he was on it. Keyboard warrior. On it. Almost every doctor in the country would agree that we wish Mr. Harris had the same enthusiasm to drive in addressing the serious, never-ending, life-threatening crisis that has developed in the health service on his watch. There are 500,000 people on waiting lists to see a consultant, with a staggering 1 million people on hospital appointment waiting list. 30,000 women are waiting to see a gynaecologist, and thousands of children cannot get the mental health services they need. Yet the media gives Simon Harris a free pass because he endlessly tweets about abortion. The tragic death of Savita Halvanar from mismanagement of sepsis was exploited by the campaigners to repeal the aid. The truth is that women's lives are in danger right now, on Leo Varadkar and Simon Harris's watch, because our health services are underfunded, under-resourced and understaffed. This is what Simon Harris needs to be dealing with instead of obsessing with abortion, a procedure which helps no one and takes the life of a child. Instead, he's trying to bully good men and women to get involved in abortion against their conscience. If this means that nurses and doctors and other medical professionals are forced out of medicine, this will only add to the staffing crisis already crippling the health service. But that outcome will be caused not by pro-life doctors or nurses, but by Simon Harris and his government. We will not be bullied into taking the life of an innocent child. We won't be bullied, and we will stand together and support each other. And as we continue to do what we've got to go into medicine, protect and serve both mother and child. Thank you.
At this stage I was a little tired and went for a few jars and a toilet break. Note to organisers for the next rally next year, hire some portaloos. When I returned, there was still people speaking at the rally and also some good music on show. I also managed to grab a quick chat with William from Banbridge. It was good to hear a northern perspective from the other side that I don't often hear so much about. Again, highlighting the diversity I was speaking about. North men, South men, all united here.
I'm William. I'm from County Down, near a town called Banbridge, and I just came down today to basically show my support. Obviously, I agree with the pro-life principle, and I follow a lot of this stuff on social media, whatever. And that's how I became aware of this, and I thought came down last night, to stay down, and I came down on my own. But I've met a few people I know just mulling around here. So yeah.
You gave us a leaflet.
I did, yeah.
What was that you gave us?
It's it's a gospel tract. It's produced by the Revival Movement Association, which are basically a Christian evangelical group in Northern Ireland, and they produce literature that goes out all over the world. And basically, for me, it's an opportunity to show my support for this. It's also an opportunity to just spread material like this, spread the gospel. I'm not forcing anyone to take it. It's just,
No, you were very nice to come. Like you were very.
Oh well, thanks. I appreciate that.
But so you're on your own with this then?
I am. There was some other guys with tracks over there. They've gone to get the train now, but I'm going to hang around for a wee while longer.
So you're staying in Dublin for the night, or are you going?
Oh no, I'm getting the train going home tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think of today on the anti-abortion or pro-life thing, pro-life march?
I didn't. To be honest, when I saw the rain and different things, and given probably people are a bit down from last year, I was thinking to myself, I hope this isn't going to be a washout.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was.
The same, yeah. Well, we were at a bad corner, and we weren't seeing the crowds coming in from the streets.
Yeah. Well, no, I was staying. Where I was staying got changed for some reason. It was in a townhouse in Rathmines, which is about nearly an hour's walk away. But I walked up this morning, and I came past on the way up to Parnell Square. There was like a trans pride do. Yeah. So it was a bit. Actually. Well, yeah.
Did you try any of
I did.
leaflets? Yeah.
I did, and I was worried because I was that there was guards and stuff about if you do the wrong thing you could get in trouble. But I tried it with one or two people, and you know what? It was just like total no go. So
really?
After that, I said there's no point.
Well, that was quite brave, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like The Exorcist, isn't it? It's just like they don't want to hear the word.
No, it's they will probably spin it to the effect that okay, you're coming here and bashing them, you're spreading hate. Well, it's not that. I'm not forcing anybody to take this, but I'm a Christian myself. I believe that people think this is cheesy or whatever, but you honestly take it and read it. It's the words of the Bible that I believe are inspired, that are in it, that can point people to something better. And but I just didn't. I tried it and I didn't get any response from them, so I just backed off. I didn't want to push it or anything. But I sort of knew here I would get a better response.
So in your mind, how important is pro-life in your opinion and your outlook in life?
It's if I'm honest, like a lot of people, I would always said that I'm against abortion. I think, look, it's like this: a child in the womb is a human being. Anybody with any wit knows that. And you can talk about different situations that a woman can find herself in, and some people will say, okay, well, there's some rare situations like rape, so-called FFA. I say that in inverted commas, but can you hear me okay? I know this. Well, we'll see how it goes anyway. I'll try and talk up, but look, it's a thing I would always say, on pro-life side. I never thought of it that deeply, because we don't have it in this part of the world, until coming up to about a year ago. But to me, it's fundamental. If you don't value not only the child, life in general, but if you don't value something like the most vulnerable form of life, like the innocent child, where are we heading? What sort of...
They said it in the march today, euthanasia is next.
Well, yeah, that sort of fear, but once you let go of that general principle of respect for life, whether it's coming from a religious point of view or just a moral point of view, you're on the slippery slope. So, I mean, fundamentally that's what it is for me. It's also, from a Christian point of view, it's wrong. And I think you could, if you want, that's what's fundamental above all else. If you wanted to take it further, from a point of view of a country, if they destroy the next generation coming on, and I'm going to be wary of what I say here, but if you are importing foreigners in and Muslims, and if they are breeding and the native population isn't, well, where's that going to lead? And I mean, when I say in those words, that could be taken out of context too, but I think you guys know where I'm coming from.
I'm married to a foreigner.
Yeah, you know where I'm.
You don't have to. I think people have to over-explain that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to say that.
No, we should.
Tell you.
No, I think you could talk about it for a long time, but for me, it's pretty elemental.
We're trying. We have real issues.
Yeah.
They just,
Sure. And that's basically what it's about. For me.
So you're from Banbridge, you'd be like Protestant in Northern Ireland?
If you want, I go to...
In the north, obviously, the Alliance Party, the SDLP, Sinn Féin, obviously, they can't get enough of abortion.
No,
I think it's the DUP.
Yeah. So, I don't know, sorry to cut over, wait, man. The SDLP, officially, it's a vote of... I think there's a lot of pro-life people in it yet, as far as I know. And even the UUP and... Yeah, the DUP... There'd be liberal elements creeping in the DUP too.
But do you think it's kind of morphing into the north is next? That's the mantra from Sinn Féin, like. So I mean, you live in the north. Nationalists. There must be some nationalists.
There are, but I don't know. I think it's a lot of them that would say they're pro-life and Catholic. They still would be minded to go out and vote for Sinn Féin. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take them to dawn on them. You see Anne too, and people here, and hopefully there's going to be some sort of a breakthrough there,
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if they could it's not an easy thing to
No.
DUP or because of pro-life. I don't know, it's like...
This guy's from the National Party.
Yeah.
I'd have a lot of time for what they say, Yeah, they're proper conservative party, which is what I am.
Banbridge.
Yeah. Where are you from yourself?
I'm from Galway.
Oh, right, okay.
You guys are doing a lot up the north as well.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good volunteers up the north. That's what it takes, really.
Yeah. But the thing about this is, regardless what your unionist nationalist, whatever your political allegiance is, this is something that's above that. Yeah. This is basic decency,
We've been squibbling around it's been important for us, but this is like, this is like something deeper level. It's attacking all of us, all of our communities,
It is. It is a cancer. It's a social cancer. And the thing about it is, when you look at when you look at those people going out into Dublin Castle last year, I mean, to me, I don't know how to describe that. That's insanity. To go out and be so brainwashed that you actually clap and cheer for kids being killed.
It's ghoulish.
It's actually, in one level, it's an impressive level of brainwashing. Sad to say, but
I'm kind of going through kind of a thing with the Catholicism, evangelicalism as well. There's people on the evangelical side, I'm seeing really great speakers, and people like E. Michael Jones on the Catholic side, and
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I don't see the massive difference in.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I believe basically
scripture, like as you're reading the book and stuff.
Fundamentally, I would say salvation is a gift of God through grace. It doesn't matter your denomination. Now, I would have probably issues with Catholicism in the sense of the way they take a lot of these things like transubstantiation and stuff like that, that as far as I can see has no basis in the scripture. But I would say there's Catholic people who are saved. You know what I mean by they've come to faith in Christ, genuine faith, and I'm sure there's some of them here today. And I just take the opportunity to give these out because I believe we have a responsibility to witness, and that's something. I mean, I'm no saint.
Sort of like we're on the same team.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. I would say if you look at it,
we're all pulling one direction. Maybe it's not. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I know, but I mean, I do believe historically, if you look at these islands, right, Christianity as a force, as a social force, has shaped their history. It has shaped culture. It has shaped the politics. Yeah. I mean, people talk about Britain, the Victorian age. You know, the Victorian age is like a cliche. It embodies the moral culture of that time, but it came from, you know, evangelical preaching and revival of that age.
Yeah.
And that's something I would love to see Britain getting back to.
And Ireland.
Exactly, of course, yeah.
I ask one question. I don't want to worry at the time because I don't want to keep.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
How come, like, you've seen the crowds going crazy, and they're mostly young people
Dublin
going crazy.
Castle.
Well, last year, yeah.
Dublin Castle.
Yeah, but generally, but it is like in most countries, the youth.
Yeah.
Cool and edgy. They're
Indoctrinated.
How can we get them back?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not right saying this, but I'm not so sure that the youth are totally that way, because a lot of is it Generation Z they talk about, are more into social media. Maybe what you see, the ones that are vocal are that way, yes.
So it's the next generation
but
then, yeah.
I agree, we do have work to do. Well, I would say the gospel fundamentally is pushing it forward is the right way to change society. But I mean, you've got to approach it from the point of view of politics, media, engaging with the culture at the same time. I think consistency and not backing down. We need people need to grow backbone.
Yeah.
You know, too.
Shoot from the hip.
Shoot from the hip. Use every opportunity, social media, whatever you can. And just it's a long war. I think
universities is.
You see,
indoctrination.
People need to get out of this idea that, you know, your life, your kids' future, and everything is solely based around sending them to school and university. Because I think that lie is starting to wear thin. You know, and I don't know what way it's going to go with Brexit and stuff, but you know, hopefully, if people over in the mainland Britain get sick of their politics and stuff, I don't know, maybe eventually they'll catch themselves on and say, okay, the system's rotten, we got to change it, and it will be a slow process, but I'm hopeful here too. It'll happen gradually, you know.
Okay, so thanks very much for
The rally was winding down at this stage, but I managed to bump into JQ, who I just had heard the night before from the Irish Patriots channel. Unfortunately, he didn't have the army fatigues on, but he more than made up with it with his strong opinions and forthright view.
Okay, so here I'm with JQ. JQ, yeah?
Yeah.
And how'd you get on the march today? What'd you think of it?
Oh, it's great. It's great to see people getting out, and you know, even though they lost the referendum, it's great to see that people are still fresh on their minds and they're not letting it go, you know.
Yeah, there's a bit of fighting the old dog left, you know.
Yeah. Well, if we get a government in that, you know, isn't as weak as the ones we have, we might be able to do something changed.
So, is the pro-life thing? Is it a big thing for you? Or
it is, yeah, because I'm totally against abortion.
Yeah. Okay.
And especially with what's going on in Western Europe, the population of our populations are declining.
Yeah, it's going down to 1.6 or something.
Yeah, and bringing in foreign people and then aborting our babies, it's not going to work out too good.
So why are they doing this then?
Well, My personal, I think it's well, it's all planned. Obviously, it's the elites are planning it, and I think that eventually they want to have a mixed race people of all, just one race and low IQ, subservient, do as they're told, cull them, do whatever, and basically take over, world power.
Do you think is there anything like is there any way we can bring back the people to support what we think, like with the pro-life view, or limited or improving border control, or how can we get the people back to our people? They seem to be gone.
But me personally, I've no trust in the voting system in Ireland. I've no trust in it. And even as I said last night in the stream, I said, like in 2004, we had a referendum about anchor babies. It was 85% against. Remember? Yeah. Do you remember that? And it's been ignored.
The birth citizenship.
Thing. It's been ignored.
Yeah.
So basically,
and patterns are being voted.
Yeah.
That's here today.
And I don't. Even though he's with a different party, I don't trust any of them.
No.
Yeah. Even your man that was there, McGurk or whatever you call him.
Yeah,
he's a bit.
So
it's controlled opposition, I think.
We're in serious trouble, lads.
So what can we do?
What can we do?
All done the army fatigue.
But me personally, I'll be honest with you here now. Me personally, I'd love the Irish diaspora in America to send us over a container full of guns and we just take over the country.
No right.
You know what I mean? Oh, you know what I'd love? I'd love the Irish Army, the chief of the Irish Army, to just kill against the government.
Well, like in Germany and France, even in America, a lot of the army guys support. Like in America, Trump has the support of the army.
Yeah.
Even in France, like a lot of them would support Le Pen's viewpoint. Like, in Germany, so.
Yeah, but lads, I actually heard that a lot of the German soldiers are actually turning against the government in Germany, but it's not the higher up lads. Obviously, it has to be the higher up lads that have to be in on it as well. You know what I mean? It can't be just a normal soldier or a couple of normal soldiers. It has to be the higher lads up, if you know what I mean. So there's not enough support there, like.
But do you feel? Like, are you black pilled or red pilled, or what kind of pills do you take?
No, I'm not black pilled because I think things will change. So I think the whole of Europe's going to erupt. The whole lot of it is going to erupt, man. Yeah. And whatever. And I actually think Europe is going to shrink more Eastern Europe towards Russia and Hungary and like Ireland and all.
And as usual, Ireland will be the last to erupt.
Yeah. You know, it's going to be like white lads. Look what's going on in England, all the white flight and all. And it's going to be like that in all the countries. All the whites are going to flight to countries, safer countries. You know, this is what's going to happen, I think. Unless something good happens. This might think I'm a bit radical, I don't know, but that's the way I think.
Common sense.
Well, see, the thing is, like,
common sense.
It's realism, really. I don't think it's like.
Look,
I always think it's like I like to think I'm in centre, and I always think like I would love if everything was we're all hanging out in the kumbaya and we're all swimming.
Yeah.
We love peace. We all love each other.
Like 10, 15.
But reality is different.
Yeah. What you're saying is not based on emotion; it's based on rationality.
Yeah, it's
being
just
logic,
I'm
being
kind of
practical,
working it out in my head.
And being patriotic as well.
Yeah,
all combined.
Like go back 10, 15 years ago, I didn't even think about foreign people coming in. You know, but it's the numbers. It's the numbers that are coming in, and it's our birth rates are low, and their birth rates are 5 and 6 kids, lads. It's and it kills me because our lads in 1916 fought for us, for our country, for us to have a future, not for other people.
But we do have a national party. We have Sinn Féin.
No.
This is what Bobby Sands was on hunger strike for, was it not?
I think he died for something like that.
Yeah, was it not?
But Sinn Féin was different back then, lads.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
the split in the 80s.
What do you think of the parties? Like you have.
Well, I have to say, when I'm voting, I'm going to be voting for the National Party.
What about Gemma's?
Anti-corruption.
If Gemma joins up with the National Party, yeah, that's good, and Herman Kelly. But I don't think there's any point going to Europe. You know, Europe is
Renew into
none of them.
They all should join. Big part.
You know, but I like Justin. I like the way I like
his
what he's saying.
His YouTube videos are brilliant. His speeches are.
They want to bring in the death. And I was a bit mad. They want to bring in the death penalty, and they want to give people the right to bear arms and all. I think that's all right, lads. Obviously not criminals now. But.
Anyway, so do you have a YouTube channel or what?
Yeah, it's I just put up silly things. I might start making videos though. JQ it's called.
Okay.
Now JQ is, I don't know how you feel about this, but JQ is the Jewish question.
It's the thing we cannot talk about.
Well, I don't care. I'll talk about it. But that's what I named it after. That's JQ, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've learned a lot about.
It's funny, like you can't mention like their Holocaust is like you can't go near.
Yeah.
Our Holocaust, our thing is like you could call it anything you want.
It's only up there, isn't it? The famine.
Yeah, well,
it's not a famine.
Like,
the famine monument.
World War II was a tragedy all around, not just for one type of people. And of course there was a Holocaust, but I don't think 6 million of them were killed. And
the thing is, the fact that you're being arrested for having this.
Yeah, well, this is it. If you can't criticise them, and there's been people locked up recently. Alfred Schaefer, his sister was locked up. She's out now. He's after being locked up. Just for speaking out about these things. So, what are they afraid of? Why aren't we allowed to investigate these things? I've watched a lot of David Irving, you know David Irving?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And he's
been doing this for decades.
Like, he's caught people out lying because he's able to tell by ink and paper.
Well, he got the original sources because he's a proficient in German and he's a master historian.
He spoke to people in the 60s.
He actually had the original the sources in German, well, obviously, because go directly to the sources in Germany when it's all finished, like, you know.
And he's caught them out lying with fake documents because, you know, you've heard of the lipstick trial or something, where the judge actually ruled in his favour, but because it's so political, he had to be done for, you know, he was done on something else.
So have you a parting shot then for anybody that's like, what would be the first thing that they should look into if they're new to this kind of thing, like just waking up? What would you? What wakened you up?
What woke me up was I seen a few comments about documentaries to watch and David Irving and stuff, and I watched it, and like I was saying, don't be saying things like that. And they say, watch this and think what you think. Don't believe me and all. And I'd watch it, and then you'd research something else, and you just go deeper and deeper.
You were saying last night, I remember you said like you're big into your free speech. That's the number one.
Oh yeah, no, I ain't messing with free speech, man.
No one should be immune to criticism.
No. And you can hear Charlie Flanagan, he does be talking about this stuff, bringing it in, like.
But that'll only make it stronger because it pushes.
Yeah.
It's like we're here today. Like, I mean, I'm naturally. I wouldn't say this is not normal for me. Like, I'm only here because.
That's
okay. Oh yeah, sorry man. Thanks. Oh, he's giving us all the truth bombs here.
No, he's the man.
yeah. Take care.
But free speech, man. That's a no-go. Can't be having that, like.
As we were heading home, we managed to catch a good chat with Alistar, who gave us the lowdown on fluoridation and its effects on the masses in the country. It was certainly an interesting chat, and I would say that I wish Alistar well in his endeavour in waking up the country to this often derided topic. I was amazed at how Alistar was still able to keep going after a long day, and his energy and buzz was certainly uplifting at a time when my batteries were running low after a long day.
Right, so what's your name and what are you doing? What are you talking about?
My name is Alistar Smith. I'm from Dublin. I live up in North County Dublin. I'm out here collecting signatures today to repeal the Fluoridation Act, which is, basically it's just mass medication, because the government is adding what people do not. No one even knows what it is that is added to the tap water. They think it's fluoride, but it's not. And I'll send you some Mary Poppins now that will help you remember how to say what is in your tap water. And then when you see a politician, you can say, what is HFSA? Can you say it unabbreviated? Maybe you can after this song. It's hydrofluorosilicic acid and it's in your water. You were told it's fluoride, but it's something really stronger. When you drink too much of it, yes, you may get cancer. 100 people a day getting cancer in Ireland. Not very nice. HFSA is leftover waste. HFSA is leftover waste. HFSA is leftover waste. And you've been paying your water rates since 1998. And you've been paying for industrial waste to be dumped into your bodies, because that's what hydrofluorosilicic acid is. It's leftover waste. It's a neurotoxin. It's poisonous to babies. The baby's brain starts to develop after just 4 weeks. That baby's brain is developing. And that baby, some of them, 17% of Irish babies never even get breastfed at all. So they get poisoned their whole entire existence. They don't even get breastfed. They get poisoned inside the womb and outside the womb. Is it any wonder, like a neurotoxin? We have the highest rate of depression in all of Europe. That's nothing to be proud of. So the Irish people need to stop drinking the Irish tap water. Right to Water did not say to you, don't drink the tap water, don't trust Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael to give you a drink, because you don't know what's in it. I wouldn't trust Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael with the life of me. Would you?
Well, I'd want to be on some of that fluoride addiction.
Yeah, it keeps you under control, alright.
So you were saying like you were in some party. What's the party?
I'm a member of United People. I'd be running in the Fingal constituency because enough is enough. I didn't have anyone to vote for the last time, so I could run myself and to get people to run. We just need more people that will give us citizens initiated referenda, which puts us the people in charge of the government. Also it means that you can sack your representative if you're unhappy with their performance or behaviour outside of politics. So we didn't originally have this in the Searstad Constitution. It was there in Articles 47 and 48. If we collected 50,000 signatures, we could automatically have a citizens initiated referenda started by us, the people of Ireland, not the government or a citizens assembly, which is just a fix. Because the Constitutional Assembly in 2012 said that we should have these powers restored from Articles 47 and 48.
So it's in the thing
already. It was in the Searstad Constitution.
What's the Searstad Constitution?
Free State Constitution.
Okay, sorry.
You now have Bunreacht na hÉireann, which is the Constitution of 1937. You are just a slave to Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael with that Constitution. With the Searstad Constitution, you are a citizen of Ireland. You had rights. Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael took away those rights, gave you the plebiscite. What a plebiscite. But they get to choose what we vote on. We should have the control over them also.
And so, what got you into this? Like, I mean, where did you find all this information from?
Well, I always knew that Hitler used fluoride on the Jews to keep them under control in the concentration camps, and Stalin used it too in his gulags. But,
well, you mentioned the Jews. So maybe that's
the concentration camp train. Just got there now, off to our Weissbox Fry. Work makes you free. So Hitler used fluoride on the Jews. I grew up knowing that, and then I got to my 20s. I was like, Hitler used that on the Jews. Why am I still drinking it? And then I got to my 30s. I had epilepsy, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm sick. My brain is sick. And then I stopped drinking it. 2013, had brain surgery, no epileptic seizures since then, thank God. I stopped taking all those pharmaceutical drugs too. It's taking CBD, which is much better for your health than all those drugs.
CBD, sorry, what's
I learned what is in the tap water from the Girl Against Fluoride, but she took a court case, but the court case flopped. I don't know what happened with it or where it is at the present time. But what I'm doing with my petition, Repeal the Fluoridation Act, is I'm en masse removing people's consent to be mass medicated. So that makes it against the law. 1997 Non-Fatal Offences Against the Person Act 12 subsection 1, poisoning. If you remove your consent to something that's going to affect your body in any sort of way, once you remove your consent, it becomes poisoning under Irish law and also international law. The Nuremberg Code number 1, which was brought in after the Nazis who used fluoride to control people, and then the Nuremberg Code number 1, the top of that list, is if you do not consent to the experiment, it must stop.
So how as an individual can you withdraw your consent then?
You sign a petition and I submit it weekly, updating Simon Harris as to how many people have removed their consent. These people are ready to sue Irish Water, they're ready to sue Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael if their baby gets sick with a neurological condition after it's born, after that brain is poisoned for 8 months because the baby's brain starts to develop after 4 weeks.
Have you got a lawyer that will be supporting?
There's no lawyers that have taken my case on, but if you are looking for the criminal damages, is where lawyers just to take those. It's no win, no fee. So all you got to do is send your case to all the no win, no fee lawyers. It's big enough. The evidence is there. They'll win it. Of course they're going to win it because there's peer-reviewed research saying it's a neurological toxin. There's also peer-reviewed research saying it's an enzymatic toxin which affects your thyroid. So it affects your thyroid, which causes obesity, which causes cancer, which causes depression. A lot of conditions all stem from hypothyroidism, which is the slowing down of your thyroid function. So there is case and there is evidence there, because that peer-reviewed research is by Declan Wog down in Bandon. He just published there last month, about how fluoride affects your iodine uptake, which also causes birth defects because it shrinks the size of the baby. And women are told to drink 2 to 4 litres every single day to help their baby, but the baby's getting poisoned, and that's not right. They never respected the right to life here at all in this country. A Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael have kept the Irish people as slaves since the day one of this state. We've had Magdalen laundries, industrial schools, mother and dead baby homes, selling children off to America. The list of slavery continues. And also, you have landlords. If you knew your history, you would know Ireland will never be free with landlords in power. To have landlords in power, you're still the same as you were 1069 when the Normans came to Ireland, aka the Brits, the Normans, because that's William the Conqueror is actually a German who took over the UK. So Germans control the EU, the Germans can still control the UK. So whatever happens with Brexit, they're still going to be controlled by Germans. But that's a different story. But all Fine Gael do is keep us slaves.
So what about today then? What do you think of today? Like what
today was a good turnout. It was a pro-life march, and the abortion referendum was just thrown in there to divide the Irish people.
Yeah.
Because it is a very divisive issue. It's life or death.
Yeah.
That is very divisive because it's life or death. That is.
Well, they want people arguing all the time about.
Exactly, they divide
issues that I could argue that doesn't really affect us in the general scheme of things, you know. No, I don't think so.
Not really. The general scheme of things.
The national debt is our greatest scheme.
The national debt, well,
220,000 million. How are we going to pay it back?
But that's actually EU banking debt that we're still paying.
How are we going to pay it back?
€6 billion every single year. Every single year you pay back €6 billion to EU banking debt.
Exactly.
So
maybe the Green Party with the carbon tax might help.
That's just the oil companies. The oil companies are the ones initiating the carbon tax. They're doing it themselves because we're already reaching peak oil from 80s. The oil is running out. It's time for renewable energy, and the oil companies are just cashing in. That's what they're doing. It's the same with the plastic.
Yeah.
We're all getting rid of stuff.
If people want to follow you online, do you have an email here or
Twitter? Radio station. It's a YouTube video.
YouTube. What's the name of your YouTube?
I don't have a YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So just use are working for YouTube. But do something now.
So how if people are
Twitter? It's Alistar, spelled Alistar.
Okay.
F Smith. And on Facebook, Alistar Smith. You'll see me on the.
Yeah, right down there.
You'll see me on, no, but just go to the petition and you see it
but
there.
write your Twitter thing. It would be easier for us just to show you what we did today.
So,
write down on the sheet. You're giving us the sheet, so you're giving us one of these. Thanks for your time anyway.
That's 10 minutes.
Jesus man, you're a mile a minute.
Reel it off there.
That's a long day where we have to go home and analyse all that.
Makes sense, to be fair.
But Ireland, isn't Ireland only there's only 2 countries in the West Europe or something?
It was from the 60s.
Albania or somewhere.
USA.
Okay.
Australia.
Parts
of the UK, Birmingham, and Newcastle, and then also the Basque region in Spain.
Okay, there's a few places.
You mentioned about mental health. It's no coincidence why these countries have huge
mental health issues.
Yeah.
And also it's a waste of money also, because 57% of all of what they put into the tap water, like this fluoride, 57% of that gets leaked out.
Yeah.
And then you go flush your jacks, you wash your dishes, you wash your clothes. You're actually only drinking 0.5% of the money they've invested in your teeth.
Yeah.
And also drinking back your mouthwash to help your teeth. Have you read the back of your mouthwash? It says, "Do not swallow." Do not swallow. Like, okay, well, that's how I wouldn't trust Fianna Gael giving me a drink.
Yeah.
If they bought me a drink, I'd be giving it back to them.
Anyway, thanks, man.
I appreciate
Alistar.